Welcome back to the Fox Robbins Business Show. Come on in, have a seat. We're going to talk about small business. By the way, this is episode 2 of a pair of episodes on what's called the business model, and a very difficult step, but necessary step in the entrepreneurship task.
Just if you want to be successful.
If you want to be successful. And this is a Fox Robbins Business Show. We talk about small business, anything and everything you ever wanted to know about small business.
Unbelievable.
And in order, this show exists because we want to help you develop your very best business ideas. And I'm Bill Fox, the co-host. The other co-host, though, is this guy who is, he's irresistible. He's exemplary, and better than that, incorruptible.
That's me.
Coach Robbins.
No, I can be bought for the right price.
Coach, this entrepreneur thing, we said you develop and decide on a winning idea.
Yep.
But before you get seriously into implementation, there's a gap in between called the business model.
Business model, right.
And we talked about
strategic planning for another way to put
business
it.
models that are standard. They're standard and disruptive.
Yep.
Industry disruptors.
Right.
Whatever. But we got to get into the in this episode, Coach. We have to get into the guts
Yep.
of the plan, of a good plan.
Yeah.
By the way, that's the thing about a business plan. I mean, a lot of people don't.
Most don't.
And the thing is, there's a huge mortality rate on starting up new businesses. That should not be. It shouldn't be that bad.
Doesn't have to be.
But it's a 60, 70% new businesses fail to make the mark in the first 5 years. And of that group, half of those fall apart in the very first year. It shouldn't be like that.
That's because people jump. They don't take the time to really think these things through and put it down. I used to say on a piece of paper, but now in a Word document.
That's why we're doing this show, because it's a discipline. It's like eating your spinach.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry about the spinach, but it's good for you.
Well, good for Popeye.
Get to the guts of the business plan, the business model, Coach. There is the business, the mission. There's differentiation. The idea of differentiation is a big word.
Yep.
Target markets and the scope, definition or scope of your product and the market that you're after. Talk to us about that.
Well, let me make it real simple, like I always do, because I'm kind of a simple person. The business mission, the raison d'etre for the business. Why are you in business? And don't tell me to make money. I'm in business to provide a better service. I'm in business to provide something the market really wants, needs, or desires. And that's my mission, and I want to do that. That's how I'm going to make money. And I'm going to be different. We're going to have, we talked about in many of our shows on marketing, about a unique selling proposition. If you do the same thing as everybody else, then you're just in a price war, and how are you going to survive that unless you're the biggest or have the lowest cost? You want to go ahead and compete against Walmart? Go ahead, they'll kill you. You've got to do something they don't do. And then you got to figure out who your target market or markets are. We did a show talking about segmenting the market, targeting certain group or groups, and then positioning your company to be the best at going after that particular type of group. A niche business is what we talked about. And then the market scope. You just want to start off with, quite frankly, my opinion, you want to start it off with an MVP, and that doesn't mean most valuable product. It means minimum viable product. Just get something into marketplace that's better than anybody else is selling, and start to create a brand identity for your company. You can broaden the scope of the business at a later time. So you start with what's the mission, the raison d'etre, only French I remember, reason for existence. What's our unique selling proposition? Who are we trying to sell this thing to specifically? And what is it that we can start by being the best at making a minimum viable product?
You need, you're in business, Coach, you need resources. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
a couple of those key resources, you may be thinking about money, and you may be thinking about buildings or brick and mortar. No, not necessarily, but you should be looking at something called core competency
Right.
and key assets.
Yeah.
What's your advice
Well,
there?
I would hope one of your core competencies is you've already been in this industry and you really know it well, and you've seen a piece missing from the offering to the market, and you have a core competence. You're very good at doing that, and you're bringing this to the marketplace, and you need to now figure out how are you going to create value, which is the start of this whole business model concept. How are you going to create value for the market? And then, of course, follow that up, as we will later on. How are we going to deliver it?
Yeah.
And how are we going to make money? How are we going to capture that value?
Okay. Financials, money, the life, the mother's milk of business is the money coach, the financials. And here in your business plan, you got to be thinking about so-called revenue stream. Where's the money coming from?
Right.
The core structure
Yep.
of the business, and where is the financing of funding coming? Is that, you agree with that?
Oh, totally. I mean, where are we going to, what are we going to sell? Who are we going to sell it to? And how are we going to deliver this value? I mean, how are we going to create and deliver this value? It starts with those things, because you can't capture anything until you've done those things. And so we have this unique selling idea and unique selling proposition. We know certain groups of people really would want this more than what they're buying, whatever they're solving their problem with now. Ours is a little bit better, but it's going to cost us some money to develop prototypes, to get a patent maybe, or to just build out the retail space or the restaurant, whatever the business you're trying to start. It's going to cost you some money usually to start. Most businesses, certainly businesses can start on a shoestring, but it takes some money to, make money. Just that simple.
Right. And there's the another key in the business plan is, I'll call operations.
Yeah.
Coach, that's the day-to-day running of the business.
Yeah. How we do
That's turning
things.
turning the lights on,
Yeah. Right.
and turning the sign from closed to open.
Right. Yeah.
In the window.
And unlocking the door.
Unlock the door.
Yeah.
Operation is a hour by hour, day by day, the hard work
Yeah.
of running a business. It's politely called operation.
Yeah, and it's time. I mean, it's what is the product or service that you're offering, or combination? How are we going to deliver it? The 4 P's of marketing: product, price, place, promotion, place. How do we deliver this thing? And who do we need as maybe partners to get this product or service into the hands of the customer? These are the types of questions that you need to ask yourself and answer when you're writing your business model or business plan, whatever.
We'll talk a little bit more about that, but a partner doesn't mean is illegal. They're legal partners, but there's just also partners of convenience or strategic partners.
Yeah.
In the business who may or may not have a financial stake.
Right. Yeah, that's potential. Sure.
Yeah, and then what are you gonna? This is one of the most crucial things is, how will you compete relative to your competition?
Yep. I mean, you really want to do a SWOT analysis, SWOT. It's all part of a business plan guide. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Yeah.
What strengths do I have? What strengths am I bringing to this business? What strengths are my partners? Where are we good? What do we do really well, better than anybody else? What weaknesses do we have in relationship to our competitors? And then you want to look inside your competitors from the outside and look in and say, well, what strengths do they have and what weaknesses do they have that I might be able to pit my strength against? And then in the general marketplace, the O and the T of SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Where do I see an opportunity in the marketplace that's not being served as well as I could serve it? How am I going to do it differently? Unique selling proposition. And what threats are out there? Are there any legal threats? Are there any
regulatory?
Regulatory, right. Are there any
or,
giant competitors that just could come in once they see I've got a great idea and crush me? These are the things you need to address.
And that the thing about competition, interesting idea is that do you actually think that there any competitors once they see you are going to stand still?
No, they're going to come right at you. Mr. The guy, I forget his name at the moment, went over to Deming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was delivering a speech after they realized he really knew what he was talking about at General Motors, and they say, guy raises his hand, he said, when do you think we can catch up with the Japanese? He said, well, what are you going to do differently? You think they're standing still? You're going to have to accelerate whatever you guys aren't doing to do the right things to catch up. It's probably going to take you 10 years, and he was right.
I'll go back. I want to take you back to the beginning of your plan when you've got a thing called a mission, a mission, an idea for this business, and so many people don't think about that, don't do that. Talk to us about this business mission idea.
Well, again, it's the reason for the existence of the company, but it has to be viewed through the eyes of the customer, not through your eyes. I want to start this company because I like doing it, and I want to make a lot of money. That's not a mission. That might be your own personal goal, but it's not a mission. A mission is something that's important to the marketplace and how you're going to uniquely capture the value from delivering the value from the marketplace. What is your mission statement? It should be small, short. It shouldn't be, 4 paragraphs long. It should be 6, 8 words. What is the mission of this company? It's an important, very seldom used. All the big companies have mission statements.
One thing I've seen is that over the years is business plan is supposed to have a mission. So I say, okay, write a mission. Write one down. That's as a nicety. Sounds nice.
Yeah.
But follow the mission, or think hard about it, develop it, and follow it. No.
And tweak it.
Yeah, tweak it
as you go. I walked into one company that was an absolute disaster 15, 18 years ago. I mean, it was a horribly run company, and the mission statement on the wall was, we provide the best value and create quality product. They made junk. They delivered it late. I mean, their mission statement on the wall, I ripped it off the wall. I said, you don't mean a word of this, so why have you got it hanging there?
Right. Coach, this differentiation, I mean, that's a big fancy word, but you got to talk to us about this differentiation thing. What is that all about?
You can't run a Me Too business. You can't do the same thing as everybody else is doing. You have to figure out something that you're doing different that is valued by your target audience, the marketplace. If you try to do the same thing as everybody else, like I said, you want to compete with Walmart, do the same thing they do, they'll kill you. What can you do differently? Can I compete with Walmart? Yeah, maybe I can sell a higher quality of something and open a little retail shop right next door and target a whole different group of people. Maybe even target the higher end of Walmart customers. So if you try to go head to head with them and don't differentiate yourself, they'll kill you. So how do you differentiate yourself?
You end up in the middle.
You're stuck in the middle. You don't know who you are. And that's Sears. They don't know who they are anymore.
You're not low cost, and you're not the differentiator.
They're not different than anybody else. They're just a bunch of different.
They're swinging here in the middle.
Well, they're going. They're going out.
Target markets, Coach. What about that?
Yeah, target market. Well, you talk about STP. I think I did the pizza on one show where I drew the circle, and I said, "What is that?" It's a pizza. It's not a circle. It's a pizza. And then I segmented the classroom, and when I've done it before, who likes pepperoni? 7 people. Who likes chicken? 8 people. And you segment that group. And then you decide, well, where do I have a competitive advantage? Well, I happen to have a pepperoni farm. I know there is no such thing. So I've got a competitive advantage selling pepperoni pizza. That's what I'm going to target. I'm going to target position my company as the best pepperoni pizza company in the market, and then go after the market that way.
So that means you have to understand there's market, there's segments, there's niche.
Right.
Niches in that.
Yeah.
I always remember, on the looking at the whole market, my mind always goes back to Procter & Gamble for some reason. They're a pioneer in the marketing concept.
Right.
But make laundry soap. What's the market? Everybody. The The market is everybody
Yeah.
who washes clothes.
Right. Yep.
That's a market.
Right.
That's not a segment
So that's the market. Yeah.
by
That's their
type,
target. Yeah.
by type of soap or by geography
Yeah.
or by income
Yeah.
or any other measure.
Right.
You said, who's the market? Everybody.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Now today, but that was post World War II, Coach.
Right. And the way they sold that stuff was with heavy advertising budget,
Yeah, right.
and they just pounded you on the television and on the radio. And,
Toothpaste. Who's the toothpaste for? Everybody.
well,
everybody
toothpaste,
brushes their
but
teeth.
that's a market that is segmented because you've got one toothpaste saying,
No, I mean in the beginning. You
oh
know,
yeah, everybody should use toothpaste, but some people, but again, you can differentiate that. Some people want whiter teeth, so they'll buy a toothpaste that makes their teeth whiter.
Now you're segmenting.
Right. But some people would want to fight cavities. 98% of dentists recommend Crest or whatever the hell the number, whoever it was. So fighting cavity might be the thing. So that's a different position in the marketplace. Right. And so one gives you fresh breath, one gives you white teeth, another one, then there's all kinds of combination. And just when you think there's just no place in the marketplace to find a unique selling proposition, or along comes Tom's of Maine, all natural ingredients 20 years ago, and he found a whole new position of the market.
Right.
And of course, markets, hyper competition, wonderful book written 20 years ago. All markets coalesce together eventually. Right. And then you got to figure out what's the next great thing that's going to make us different.
But that brings in the discussion, this idea of needs and wants, understanding that there is two different motivations going on here.
Yep.
Need what people need, and need shelter, need clothing, need food. Okay, but you don't need a sports car.
Or a Corvette.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. But you absolutely.
But you want one.
You want one, but you need to change the oil. So there's wants, needs, and desires. We talk about that in marketing all the time. What do people want, need, or desire? But what you're trying to figure out is, how do I do it better than the competitors and deliver that message to those people so they come and I can capture that value by making money.
And I talked to you a few minutes ago about this, what's called the scope of the market and the products and the scope of the, you got to specify initial market and product, and you said that.
Minimum viable product. To get started in a marketplace, to begin to build a brand. I mean, Nike started with one sneaker. They designed a running shoe. That's how they started. That was their initial entry into the marketplace, Now, my God, they've got thousands of different styles of sneakers and shirts and pants and, oh my God, everything. Right. They even went into golf clubs, which for some ungodly reason they got out of. They're selling $700 million a year. If you can't make money with that type of revenue, then I think there's something wrong with the guy hitting up that division.
But you want to specify the scope of your market and the products that you're offering.
Right. Yep.
And now the resources, this is reality time.
Right.
About talking about resources, inputs needed to the business and key resources. What about that, Coach?
Well, naturally, you need money, you need people, you need space, you need equipment. You need to bring this stuff to market. You need to produce the product. You need to get it out there, distribute it. You got all these people and buildings and, and hopefully you can do it in such a unique way that it's hard for your competitors, again, to match it. That's what you're really trying to do. I mean, the reason that Nike signs the top athletes like Federer and Woods and et cetera, it gives them a differentiator that, hey, this great athlete, Roger Federer wears our clothes, so should you. And they pay him hundreds of millions of dollars to do it. So it makes their product look very elite and very unique.
You need to think about and specify what's called core competency, ability. Talk to us about that.
Well, that's something we do better than anybody else. That's something that we create and deliver something, and we do it better than anybody else. And that all revolves around the same concept, unique selling proposition. It might not be something totally different, but we do it better than anybody else, and that's important to somebody, whatever better means.
Right. And that core competencies then, Coach, what might be technical know-how,
Yep.
efficiency in manufacturing or selling
Operations, yep.
process, customer relations. What about that? Those are core competencies?
Absolutely. Walmart, low cost. They have a low cost so they can sell it lower. Google, they have a secret algorithm which they change on a regular basis, and it's just faster and better than anybody else's, including Yahoo. Now, Yahoo is a directory, of course, not truly a search engine, but you know, Google has basically wiped everybody off the map, and Bing has never been able to catch up.
Yeah. And two or three competencies would be nice,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, that's right. But one can get you into the marketplace, create a brand identity for you.
And now assets, turning from a core capability to assets, key assets.
Yep.
And that would include, what would that include?
Well, you got space. Maybe you need warehouse space. Maybe you need retail stores. You need equipment. You need machinery. You may need vehicles for delivering. How you're going to get it. You might need patents to protect yourself, so that when you introduce this category killer item that nobody else can produce exactly that item, that's intellectual property. Or you just keep it a trade secret, like KFC's 14 secret herbs and spices.
Coca-Cola's formula.
Yeah, but today, I mean, anybody can reverse engineer it chemically. So, but 100 years ago, nobody could figure out exactly what they were doing, including the times they were putting Coke in the darn thing.
They're on that list of key assets, trade secrets.
Yep.
That isn't a written patent. That may be just
secret. Don't tell anybody how you do what you do, and if they can't figure it out, then you've got a competitive advantage.
Right.
We're always talking about gaining a competitive advantage in the marketplace.
Or the brand, a brand.
Well,
brand image,
it takes time. That takes time to create a brand identity. That's the best barrier to entry, we call it, of all. A powerful brand identity that people just believe in. And I only buy Nike clothes or Nike sneakers. I wouldn't touch Adidas, or I only buy Adidas. I'm not crazy about Nike. What is the power of the brand identity? That's the thing you're trying to build out. I think it's your second most valuable asset. Certainly the most valuable asset in the eyes of the market. I personally think employees are the most valuable asset, but that's me.
Additional key assets that you got to be looking at, of course, would be
cash. CFI, MITYM. Cash flow is more important than your mother.
Oh, yes, I've heard that.
Yeah.
Or credit, ability to borrow, or investors.
Or find investors who love your idea and want to buy a piece of the action.
And a key asset, the founder.
Well, the founder
or founders himself or herself.
Some of the key employees that he started with, or key employees he's gotten along the way, right? And of course, people like us, business advisors.
I got to have a good advisor.
Good advisors will get you a long way.
And now the financials. This gets down to the core money part. How will you earn money?
Well, that's what the business model is all about, is earning money. How are you going to actually make money, and where are the revenue streams coming from? These things all tie together, and how do I make money doing this, and where's the money coming from?
And that's what you just said again and again and again, the cash flow. It's not how much money, it's when.
Oh, it's got to come in before
How much and when?
I got a Friday payroll to meet. I hope the money comes in so I can make that before Friday.
Got to keep the lights on.
Got to keep the lights on.
Yeah. And different now financials. For an entrepreneurship coach, like back to your idea. A restaurant thing. It's easy to talk about because we all know.
There's so many.
We all know what a restaurant is.
Hope so.
But that restaurant may have a single stream or source of revenue,
which sells prepared food.
Make food and sell food.
Right.
The guy with the push cart with hot dogs. He's got hot dogs and he's got a push cart.
That's it.
And he either sells hot dogs from that push cart or he's dead meat.
It doesn't sell anything else.
Dead hot dog.
But the restaurant might go in the catering business on the side.
So you may have multiple streams.
Exactly. They may do catering. They may actually have special relish that they serve. I know of one restaurant that has very good hot dog relish, since you're talking, it's in Connecticut. And they have the best darn hot dog relish. I don't know what's in it, but it's a secret. And I'm sure you can figure out what it is, but it's a brand in Connecticut, quite frankly.
So multiple streams.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you better know.
Blackie's hot dogs, by the
You
way.
better know what that is, or you might have start out with a single stream and move on to.
Pick something that'll get you to create a brand identity, and then you can, add to the product scope at a later time.
And cost, the cost of doing business.
Well, you got to know all your costs. I mean, otherwise, you're going to be spending more money than you're making, and that's the kiss of death. That's for sure.
And cost driven or value driven. I always complain that I was so stupid. I should have gotten the perfume business. You put a liquid in a bottle. It costs you $5 for the liquid in the bottle, and I sell it for $75 or $100.
Yeah, because I got Coco Chanel's name on it, and it's created a brand identity.
Why didn't I do that?
Yeah, right.
And financing or funding the business. In the early stages of the business plan, you don't have to be down to the last penny.
No, because
approximation is okay.
It's an approximation of where we think we're going to. We do a swag, scientific wild ass guess, right? We got to figure out roughly, what's it going to cost us to get into the business? What are the cost of goods sold? What's our overhead? What's our break even? These things should be looked at early in the early stage of the planning.
Right. And also, where will the products come from? And the
Probably
services?
China.
And the channels, how are we going to get out to the customers?
Right. How we're going to
Direct,
service them.
indirect, sales force,
Right.
Brick and mortar branch office,
Partners, right.
and key partners, joint venture.
People we call connectors. We're
Right.
going to have salespeople on the road. We're going to have connectors out there, distributors, right. Got to look at all those potential.
Right. Well, good. Well, thank you guys for watching. This is the Fox Robbins Business Show. This is episode 2 of two episodes about the business plan, business model, for startup businesses.
Right.
And we are on YouTube. You can go to YouTube and see these episodes or others that would help you. Go to YouTube, the search box, type in FOXROBBINS, Fox Robbins, and click to the library.
Right.
And so forth. And we will see you guys next time.